Everybody, and welcome back to Same Team, Different Jerseys. Today we have a special guest with us. Her name is Sonia. It is Damien's wife. She will be present with us today for our very hot topic. And again, as usual, we have Damien.
Hello, everybody. As you can see, completely different room. Redid my man cave and my office and all this stuff. So it's completely different. I am absolutely beyond sore because I've spent the whole weekend painting, moving all this stuff. And if you could actually see the desk that I had to move, it weighs like 500 pounds. It's huge. So it was a lot of work. And this isn't going to be uploaded as fast as last week because we tried something new on Wednesday, Hannah and I, and it failed miserably. Her whole conversation.
Miserably is the right word. It's just horrendously, horribly, awfully.
It was so bad. We did a 2-hour podcast. We had a great topic, a wonderful. Everything was great. Everything was great. We uploaded it and it completely deleted her recording. Since we're in different places, it has to upload the recordings and it completely deleted her conversation, everything about her. And you just heard me talking to myself and we had to delete it, come up with a new topic and hurry up and get this done. It's Sunday, so you guys should be seeing this tomorrow. So once we get done with this, my wife.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah, once we get done with this, we got to do editing. Just so you know, everybody that when you guys see these edited, that's the person that edits it. My wife, she does all the editing. So welcome.
It's an all-day process, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Kick back, have a drink, enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we still got to run to the grocery store today, and it's a whole thing. It's been a busy weekend, but it's been a productive and good weekend.
Just do a delivery. It's okay.
No, that costs extra.
Not really. It's like
Not
$5
really.
more.
I don't care. That's $5.
Coming from the bougie man.
Yes, I don't care. No, I don't like DoorDash. I don't like delivery. I have a vehicle. I can go get it. I'm not paying somebody else just to drive to my house. I don't want anybody knowing where I live anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care.
Moving on.
Moving
Old man.
on.
Shall we move into our very, very hot topic?
Yeah, we can. This is going to be kind of unfair. This is two females against me.
I don't feel like that's fair at all.
It should be
I feel
okay
like-
because one of them's your wife, so it's all right.
Right.
It'll be okay. I just want you guys to know I looked up so much information. Like I have the United States like percentages on parents' views or just people in general's views on what should be taught for this topic. And I plan on bringing it all up.
I'm glad you have statistics. I am right, and they're probably wrong.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, it's not a feeling. It's years of dealing with this. But it's going to be an adventure. So, do you want to kick us off there, Hannah? Go ahead.
Yes, I shall. So the topic of today is, should schools teach sex education? And if they are, we're going to talk a little bit about our views about what they should and should not be teaching about. So I looked up Texas sex ed, which I found very, very interesting with my beautiful notebook of notes. So Texas is not a state that's required to teach sex ed. It's an opt-in program. Did you guys know that only like 35% of the United States has mandatory sex ed?
That is
It's really sad.
That's ridiculous. That's
Ridiculously
ridiculous.
high or ridiculously low?
Ridiculously low.
low.
Yeah.
That
okay.
should be 100% because parents, no offense, all the parents out there, this suck at sex ed.
Well, they don't want to talk to their kids about the hard topics. They don't want to bring that up. It's not a comfortable conversation to have with your children.
See,
Yeah.
and I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind it. We've had the talk with my oldest. I get kind of detailed. Like I go into depth about certain stuff and like the realities of what some of the consequences of sex are and the different versions of sex that there is.
But you're the minority parent when it comes to that. Most parents
Yeah,
don't
probably.
want to have that conversation, especially if you live like in the Bible Belt or if you're like any kind of like
Bible Belt
religious
USA over here,
of
baby.
any. Yeah. Like they believe that teaching abstinence is the key, it's the end all be all. And it's
Speaking of abstinence, yeah, Texas. So for those of you that know, I live in Texas. Texas's curriculum, it is mandated that they have to emphasize abstinence. They actually call it abstinence plus.
That is an absolutely terrible. I get it. You don't want your teenage. So, okay, let's preference something right now. When we say young teenage, we're talking 13 to 14. When we say the middle teenagers, we're talking 15 to 16. And when we talk about older teenagers, we're talking about 17. So don't wrap 18 and 19 as teenagers, even though they are teenagers, they are adults. We are not
Yeah, if
wrapping.
you're 18 and up, you're an adult.
Yeah, sorry. If you can join OnlyFans, you're a fucking adult. So we're talking 13 to 17 when we're talking teenagers. So, and if you can try to emphasize abstinence, I don't think that's a terrible thing. Just know that you do have the percentages of who does not have sex.
No, those are not. I didn't look up specifically as far as like the percentage of like teenage pregnancies. I mean, I did see that like teenage pregnancies has gone up over the years, right? I did look up like states that have the most teenage pregnancies, and
Who
you
is
guys
it?
want to take a guess of what area of the United States has the highest teenage pregnancy?
I'm guessing the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Bible Belt USA has the highest percentages of teenage pregnancies, with Mississippi taking the cake.
Okay, because when you tell a million horny teenagers not to have sex or not to do something, what are they going to do?
They're going to do it.
I'm gonna go do it.
I know most parents are embarrassed to think that their little daughter or their little son is thinking about sex. Guess what? They are. Whether or not, yeah. Think of it when you were a kid. We got a spectrum of ages between us three. I'm 49. My wife is 30. And Hannah, you're what, 28?
Oh, that's cute.
Holy shit, I don't know how old you are.
I'm 31.
30.
You're 31? Yeah. Okay, you two are the same. I'm Gen X, so you're millennials. But, I mean, I can honestly say, you know, I lost my virginity at 13.
Still happily a virgin. Thank you.
Well, yes, you're a gold star lesbian or platinum lesbian, whichever one you want.
Yes.
You've never
still a virgin.
You've never had to contact a penis in your life.
That was a weird way to
Been
put
good.
it.
I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. Which I find really interesting. Okay, so going back to like just what Texas teaches, I kind of looked up a couple of other states, but it was kind of all over the board as to far as what they mandated in their curriculum. So yeah, so Texas hasn't mandated it. If your students opt in to learn about sex ed, curriculum has to emphasize abstinence, right? And specifically waiting until marriage. Okay. They do some instruction on anatomy, contraceptions, STI prevention, and then they go into abstinence plus. What I found really, really interesting, because there's a huge thing going around society right now about how we shouldn't be teaching sexual orientation, right? We shouldn't be teaching gender identity. We shouldn't be teaching about transsexuals and transgenders and all that stuff, right? Should not be teaching that at all. Nobody wants it in the schools. Texas specifically has it in their instruction that it is mandatory to be a part of the curriculum that homosexuality is not an acceptable lifestyle. I don't understand why that's a part of sex ed, but you're teaching sexual orientation. Just saying. Zero coverage on consent, which I found very what the fuck.
Yeah.
And then no curriculum or regulation on medically accurate sex ed instructions. Why? What are you doing, Texas? What are we doing?
Not just Texas. I'm assuming Mississippi, and I'm assuming a lot of the Bible Belt has the same or stricter laws. And y'all wonder why you have the highest teenage pregnancies. They're going to do it. Teenagers are going to do it. Sorry, dads. Your little daughter wants to have sex. I know it's something you still see her as a 6-year-old with pigtails, but she's not anymore. Most psychologists will tell you that a 16-year-old female is about as developed. She's fully developed. Everything about her is sexually developed. And if you're just saying don't do it, I mean, that's like telling your 8-year-old don't go into the cookie jar. Like, what are you doing? Like, I want to prevent teenage pregnancies as much as possible too, because I mean that adds to the adoption crisis that we're having right now. We got, 1 million kids up for adoption, and that's a whole podcast in itself of how hard it is to adopt a kid. And much like most pro-choice people say, well, if you're pro-life, why don't you adopt a kid? America, and that's a whole different podcast too that we will get into. They make it so difficult to adopt a kid and so expensive.
It should be almost free to adopt a child. Like, the only thing you should have to pay for is, like, the legal fees of making that child legally yours.
That's hard.
That's it. That's all you should have to pay for.
No, because then you'll have people that adopt a kid that shouldn't be adopting a kid.
Okay,
Yeah,
right,
but
but you
that's
still
why
have
they
to go
do
through
like
no, I'm saying, like, you still have to go
Yeah.
through the legal process of your house has to be inspected, your finances have to be inspected, right? People have to do interviews with you. They have to look at your financials, all of that stuff. Like, they have to ensure that you are going to be a good parent. But you shouldn't have to pay outrageous amounts of money just to adopt a child. You're already giving it a potentially better life by giving it a stable home. You're already increasing its potential exponentially just by adopting them.
Right. Okay, so between you two lovely females, when did your parents sit you down and have the talk, if they did?
The buds and the bees.
And how in depth was it? Because for guys, it's completely different. Like, we don't fall under the same rules. I mean, my dad literally threw me a pack of condoms and said, don't get a girl pregnant. I'm like, okay. That was the extent of the sex talk.
That's awesome. I love that so much for you. I don't remember my mom having the sex talk with me. I know that she did, but I also know that there was like hey, you're gonna get your period talk. And then after that, a couple years, then came the birds and the bees talk. Like, and I remember specifically my mom being like, hey, a guy's gonna tell you he loves you. Don't fall for it. Because that's just a in your pants kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't even recall having the period talk. I don't know. I do remember I had growing up like those really big books, right? And it was like an anatomy book. And I specifically my mom like showing me, this is male genitalia, this is female genitalia, women get pregnant, can have babies, right? Yada yada yada. Men produce sperm, and that was pretty much like the gist of it. Just an anatomy lesson of this is what men got, this is what women got. You put the two together, you get pregnant. And that was like the gist of it.
Yeah, see, and I don't even remember mine being that like in depth.
Which neither of those are really in depth at all. Like, that doesn't tell you what sex is. That doesn't tell you. All that tells you is men got one thing, women got another. You put them, mush them together, you get a baby.
Yeah. But I also had two older brothers, so I feel like I was kind of a little bit luckier in that because I watched how my brothers treated their girlfriends and watched like certain interactions, and I remember being like, that's gross. Like, I'm okay with that. I don't want that. But like I was fucking around with girls long before I was guys. So for me, it was like I remember my dad finding out that I had a girlfriend, like full on girlfriend. And I remember the first words being out of his mouth. Like my mom was not thrilled at all. And my dad was like, well, don't gotta worry about her getting pregnant. That was it. That was the end of that conversation. So
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Well, that was the joke you made the other day on the phone, was how easy it would be if you found out that your daughters were gay. You'd be like,
Yeah,
that would take, because
it takes a lot of stress off of your shoulders
if you
because then
teach,
teen pregnancy isn't a worry.
if you teach them correctly, that should take the stress. Once again, if you educate your
no, because
No,
teenagers are
because
stupid.
I can educate my daughters all day long about like, hey, if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna have sex, cool. I know it's gonna happen, whatever, whatever. No matter how okay you are with it as a parent, right? You can teach your kids all about contraceptives, right? We can talk about condoms, we can talk about birth control, we can talk about the whole nine yards of it, right? How to prevent it, how to keep yourself safe, how to keep your partner safe, right? Get regular checks, whatever, whatever. You can go into all of that. And at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. So
Hmm.
they're only responsible for protecting themselves, and the other partner is only responsible for protecting themselves. If that dude doesn't want to wear a condom And even though I've preached to my daughters, like, hey, if you're going to do this, he needs to wear a condom. Like, if he ain't wearing a condom, you are closed for business. That only goes so far.
But
That only goes so far.
don't you think that if you've made it comfortable, because the only reason I say this coming from this experience is I was a complete and utter tramp when I was younger. I'd fuck a snake if I could hold it still. If it had two legs and it had a pulse, I was happy. And I found out that the church, this is why I don't believe in abstinence. The church going girls, I would literally try to date them because they were so closed off and so curious. They were the easiest ones to sleep with. Easiest. But if I ran into a girl where her father was open and talked to her, mother or father, her parents was open, she was able to go and ask them the most intimate questions. Like they could just get down and dirty and they wouldn't get offended. They'd answer her questions, and they were the hardest ones to sleep with. They would not, because there is not a line you can give them that would work on them. Because if they want to have sex and they feel like they want to have sex with you, they could go to their parents and be like, hey, I want to be put on birth control. Or, hey, he says this, or I'm kind of curious about this. And they will openly talk. Parents that openly talk to their daughter, I'd say daughters most, because it seems like that's the problem. That parents have a hard time talking to their daughters. Sons, I don't think is as big as a problem, but daughters are real hard to talk to because they still have that mentality of, 6-year-old girl in pigtails. But this was a whole different discussion. So at what age, we're talking 13 to 17, if your daughter, your imaginary daughter, Sonia, since we don't have a girl, if your daughters came to you, at what age would you be like, well, I'm disappointed, but okay, let's talk about it, and said they've had sex? And then what age would it be like, oh my God, you are way too young? At what age?
The question gives me so much anxiety.
Look, I'm telling you right now, okay? I'm telling you right now, if either of my daughters between the grade level of 6th and 8th grade came to me and said they had sex, I'd be deeply, deeply, deeply disappointed. And I would have felt like that we had failed
What
as
age
parents.
is that? What age is it? 13 to 14?
That's 12, 13, 14. Yeah.
So 12, 13. So under 15, I mean, obviously, we're not going to go into the illegal part. Okay, so 13 and 14, you both would be highly disappointed.
Yeah, I
Yes.
feel like at that point
My
you've now
God.
set your kid up for failure. Like
Yeah.
13, you're still kind of in that like, I don't want to say innocence, but you're still in that like that
Some
fun.
13-year-old girls haven't even had their periods yet.
Yeah.
Like they haven't even begun womanhood.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what about the fact that when you get your period, nature's saying go for it? Like that's nature saying you're ready.
Yeah, but
Yes, just because nature is saying, okay, so like for example, right? I knew girls growing up, they got their period at 9 years old. You're gonna tell me right now at 9 years old, they should be out going and having sex just because their body naturally says, hey, you're ready.
yeah,
I
I
don't
was
agree
like
with
10
it.
or 11.
I mean, I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying I'm just throwing out arguments for some people. And
Arguments for those people. I feel like if you're okay with your kid having sex, I would even say before 16, there's something fundamentally missing there.
so both of you are saying at 16, if your daughter came to you at 16 and said, hey, I had sex, I have questions, you'd be somewhat disappointed, but you'd be like, okay,
I
it's
would be disappointed just in the fact that like, okay, obviously at this point, if you're comfortable enough to tell me that you had sex, you were comfortable enough to come to me and say, hey, mom, I'm thinking about this. So at that point, she should have already come to me. If she comes to me after the fact, okay, I'm going to be disappointed, but it's going to be like, okay, let's have this conversation.
Yeah, I feel like it's me like such bad anxiety. Yeah, I feel like if your child is coming to you post having sex, there's a communication problem with your children, right? Don't get me wrong, like kids don't want to come to their parents with this kind of stuff, especially if their parents have made it abundantly clear that like don't have sex. You will get pregnant and die. If you've made it abundantly clear that that is how sex works, like they're not going to want to come to talk to you, right? They're not. I have tried my best to not teach sex like that in my household. I try to be like, hey, it's going to happen, but it needs to happen when you're ready. when you are ready. Your partner doesn't decide when you're ready. You decide when you're ready. And sex is a part of life. Everybody does it. Well, most everybody does it, right? I try to keep the dialogue open. Like when we had the talk with um my oldest, it was very very in depth. Like I went into what oral sex is. Um, we talked about different types of, I don't want to say sex, but like experimental stuff, like anal, people are into that, there's all different types of fetishes. Now, I didn't go into depth about fetishes, but I was like, there's people they have fetishes, feet finder's a thing for a reason. Just saying. So, but like there's more than one way to have sex. But if you have sex, if you actually have sex, like actual intercourse, like your chances of pregnancy have now increased. Whereas if you're just having oral, your chances of pregnancy should be none.
Should be.
I also
Should be.
think that people forget to teach that you can still enjoy your partner, your person without full-blown sex. I think that that's something that's missed out when having those kinds of conversations. Because you
Yeah.
can look at your teenager and say, "Hey, you don't necessarily have to have sex if your boyfriend is pressuring you and you feel like you're ready to experiment, but you're not ready for sex. There's other ways to keep them appeased without having full-blown sex." And
Not only
that's
that, but I don't think teens are having these conversations, right?
right.
Like if you're not having these conversations with your parents, you're definitely not having these conversations with your
Yeah.
partners. Like, and I think teens, they definitely don't know how to talk about it. And I think that's something that should be taught in sex ed. Like they should go through like role play with other teens about how to talk about sex with your partner. Because if your boyfriend comes to you and he's like, I really want to have sex. Why? Why do you really want to have sex? Like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like let's
Are you
talk
being
about it.
pressured
Let's
by
talk
your
about why you,
friends? Are you, yeah.
yeah, like, are you just genuinely curious, or yeah, are you getting pressure from your other guy friends and they're like, man, I smashed like 3 girls this weekend? Like, no, you didn't, but okay, bro. Like, don't lie, but all right, But yeah, so like, and they're not having those conversations, like, hey, I'm not ready, but maybe we can do other things. Well, what are those other things? They're not having those conversations, and they're definitely not having the realistic conversations of, okay, we both know that sex can lead to a baby. Are we ready to have a baby? Are we willing to have a baby together? Because at that point, no matter how much you love or hate that person, you are now connected to that person for the rest of your life. Even if they're a deadbeat, whether it's deadbeat mom, deadbeat dad, whether either one is a deadbeat and they take off and they have absolutely nothing to do with your child, you are still attached to that person for the rest of your life. Because eventually that baby is going to grow to a child, to a young adult, to an adult who's going to have those questions. Where's dad? Who is my dad? Where's mom? Who is my mom? Those questions are going to come up.
I think that's the other conversation that teenagers aren't willing or aren't mature enough to have of like, hey, if I get pregnant, are you okay if I abort it? Or is it something that one of you is staunchly against and the other one isn't? So
Or
then
the
that's
simple
different.
question of, do you want kids? And I know that's a hard topic because at 15, 16, 17, who is thinking about kids? I know
Nobody.
I wasn't. No teenager is thinking about kids, but that's the reality of it. That's the reality.
I was, but that's just because I was crazy and I thought that I was going to have like 7 kids. Like, I wanted a big ass family.
Okay, so before we break into more of this, do we want to talk about some of the statistics I got so we can see what the United States thinks should be taught in sex ed, and then we can break into what we think should be taught?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
go
do
ahead.
it.
Okay, so this is coming from, I'm probably going to chop it up really bad, but this is coming from psychus.org, which is sex ed for social change. So 89% of America agrees that in middle school they should get sex ed. 98% agrees that sex ed should be taught in high school. Now, the statistics, the first statistic that I'm going to say is middle school, and the second is high school. Abstinence, 90% and 92%. Birth control, 82% and 94%. STD and HIV, 96 and 99. Healthy relationships, 89 and 96. Sexual orientation is 69 and 79. Puberty is 98% and 97%. Consent, 93 and 96. And then I went into the percentages of federal government funding for sex education. 73% agreed that there should be federal government funding education for programs of unplanned pregnancy or unplanned and planned pregnancy, and that there should be federal government funding programs to delay some of the delay due to consequences of sex was 85% yes, meaning delay sex, right? 85% agreed to delay, you should try to delay sex as long as you can. And 15% said that you should delay until marriage.
15%?
Yes.
And that's like what America thinks? Or I'd like to know what that statistic was like back in the feast.
Yeah.
I bet you it was much higher.
So, like 85% of America says yes, you should try to delay sex for as long as possible, right? Which I agree with. Like, I don't think it's something that you should be rushing into. But I did find it very, very interesting because, like, Bible Belt of America, majority of them agree you should wait until marriage. So I found it interesting that only 15% of the United States said delay until marriage.
Excuse me, that's
So,
going off.
given our percentages, what do we think should be taught at school for sex ed? And when should we start teaching sex ed?
Oh, junior high. 7th, 8th grade. Hands down. Without question.
I agree.
The pregnancy of, like, of course, the 9, 10, 11-year-old girls that are getting pregnant, that's, I mean, it happens, but it's so rare. It's under 1%. But junior high, that's a thing.
Yeah, I know working at the middle school when I was still in Arizona, we had 3 pregnancy scares in 1 year.
Yeah, so
that's outrageous.
And how?
But I also think that that's something that, like, I feel like every time that their period is late after they've had sex, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm pregnant." And it's like, okay, but like they don't teach kids that, like, hey, you have sex, your hormones are gonna get messed up. Like,
yeah, I definitely think it should start in middle school. And I think in middle school it should be kind of like a umbrella effect, right? Where the primary curriculum should be puberty, right? Like we should hit really hard for puberty. You should break it up into 2 groups, boys and girls, and they learn about puberty and they learn about their own genitalia, right?
Hold on. Why do you think you should break up the girls and boys?
Because boys and girls' puberties are different. I don't think it benefits girls learning that what boys are going through in their puberty.
Why not? I think we're going to disagree on this. I do not think that women and girls should be, boys and girls. I don't think boys and girls should be broken up for anything, especially the period talk. The period talk, guys.
So no. So hold up. Calm down here.
I'm heated.
So I think you should break it up because I think boys will feel more comfortable talking about their puberty and what they're going through with boys. Okay. And I think girls would feel a lot more comfortable talking about what they're going through in their puberty with girls. Now, they should still learn a little bit encompassing of the others. Like, obviously, boys should probably know what periods are, right? Girls should know that boys' puberty is slightly different, but I don't think you should get into the nitty gritty. Like, I don't think boys need to know that their hormones in middle school. I don't think boys need to know that, like, their hormones go out of whack. They bleed for fucking 7 days. They're, whatever. Just like I don't think girls need to know that a fucking change in the breeze gives a boy a boner at 11 years old. Like, I just don't think they need to know, like, the nitty gritty of it.
Why? So, what? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I went to school in Jersey. We started learning about like puberty and stuff in 5th grade. So we were not separated into boy groups and girl groups. Like we were separated when we watched like the video or whatever. But that was like the first day. And then we were brought back together.
What video did you watch that they had to separate?
So for the girls, it was like a not an anatomy video, but like kind of like an anatomy video of like it showed like the egg going down the fallopian tube, attaching to the uterine wall, like all of that. And then for the boys, from what I understood, because obviously I wasn't there, they watched a video of kind of the same thing, but like it showed like I guess like the video was for them was like, this is what happens when you go through puberty of like, your balls are going to drop, your voice is going to get deeper, you're going to, you know, get acne. And then we were all brought together and it was like, hey, these happen in both boys and girls. You guys are going to get hair down there. You're going to get acne. Your hormones are going to be all jacked up. Boys, you're going to feel angry all the time. Girls, you're going to be emotional all the time. But they never went into the nitty gritty until we got into like seventh, eighth grade of like, okay, now we have now you can get pregnant, you can catch an STD because they were still STDs then. And the hardest part about those classes, in my opinion, was that for the boys, it was always a joke. It was always a joke. No matter what the teacher was saying, no matter, like, it could be the most ridiculous thing of like, you know, you can get crabs. And they were like, crabs. And it's like, okay.
This is why I think they should be separate.
See, and I disagree.
I think they should be separate to a point.
And I don't believe they should be separated at all because there's so many things that guys are terrible when it comes to, and this is my whole, when you're trying to be with a woman, there's so many things that go on with women. And I was lucky enough to have a sister and she had friends and they gave me pretty much my sex education, but not as in having sex. I sat there and I would listen to my sister's girlfriends and stuff, and they were 2 years older than me. So I'm like 12. So they were like 14 and 15. So they're like right in the middle of it. And the things they would say, I mean, I didn't know. And guys don't know what's going on when a girl on her period. Like we have no clue. We don't know how you feel. And I think I don't believe in separating them because there's so many things that we could learn from each other that would make us better partners, better sexual partners when we get older. There's a ton of guys that have no idea. Weird story. I know of a guy that thinks a period lasts 2 days, 1 to 2 days. We just had the conversation. This
I
dude.
wonder who that woman is that he got that information from, because I have so many questions.
We don't get you women don't tell us. It's not that he doesn't get the information from a woman. Men don't get the information at all.
Yeah, but then a woman acts irrational because in her brain, whatever she's acting irrational about makes sense to her for that reaction. And whether she's on her period or not, the guys are like, oh, well, it must be your time of the month. Okay, well, that's not the explanation for everything.
Just so you know,
I think it needs to be separate, because I remember, okay, so I went through sex ed in 8th grade. That was the only sex ed I went through. And it was very distracting going through a class, learning about women's hormones, our period, a little bit about our period, and like the fallopian tubes and all this other stuff, right? And like what Sonia said, the boys make a joke out of it. And it's like, bro, this is not a joke. Like, we're learning stuff. I'm taking this and I'm learning stuff, and y'all want to kiki and ha ha and blah, 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 and she's gonna bleed and blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
you want to do that
exactly.
shit? You go do your joke stuff with other boys, because boys learn that way apparently, and girls do not. So I think there's a certain level early in their middle school years it needs to be separated, because most women don't learn through the jokey ha-ha bullshit that boys do. And boys should get that out of their system with boys, get it out of your system, and then we come together and we learn about it all encompassing. And then as they get older, right, and we go into, where they're more likely to have sex, you need to bring it all together and do like role playing together of like how to talk about sex with your partner. And it needs to, that way the boys are a little bit more mature, right? Because we all know that boys mature slower than girls do. Okay. So that's why I think it needs to be separated in some parts of it, because girls don't learn like that and boys do. So y'all need to get the jokey stuff and the ha-ha out of your system. And then when you know that we're coming back as a group, jokes are gone. There's no more joking.
Then you won't have sex ed for guys until they're like 25, 30. Because the ha-ha joking thing, it doesn't go away in high school. It doesn't go away in your early 20s. That's still a ha-ha joking thing. And this is where the reason I don't think you should be separated, but you have to have a strong teacher. Both of you girls just told me the same story. Your teacher failed you. That teacher should have snapped those boys right up. Like
Mine did. Mine
okay.
absolutely did.
Yeah.
But there's still the snickering behind the teacher's back. There's still, fucking Jake from State Farm sitting in the back row, like making stupid ass jokes for no reason. And it's like,
it'd be
girls
easy to.
take sex ed very, very seriously, I feel like, and boys are just like, like, that's a clit. Like, bitch, you can't even find it. Like, you all failed that test. Get out of here.
I passed that test. Thank you very much. So
you were a whore. There's a difference.
Yeah, I did. But actually, no, the reason I actually passed the test is I was lucky enough. So I had sex ed. I was military growing up, and I had sex ed in 6th grade. Then we happened to move, and when we moved, the school that I went to, they happened to have sex in 7th grade. Then we moved again, and the school that I happened to be going to had sex ed in 8th. I had sex ed for 3 fucking years. I could fill out one of those diagrams of women and men with my eyes closed. I knew about the upper and lower, and most men don't even know that the vagina is not the front. Like, I know 25-year-olds that couldn't tell me what the parts of vagina is. They just think the vagina is the vagina. It's whatever you're looking at. And that's 25, 30-year-old men.
Okay.
And
but that's...
You know all the parts because you own the parts.
There's women out there that don't know all the parts either.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. There's women out there that don't realize that there's 2 holes. You have your urethra and then your vagina. Some of them think it's all in one. It's all encompassing.
I will tell you that most guys do. Yeah, I bet you there's not a teenage boy, maybe 1 or 2, but I bet you the 99% of teenage boys, because I remember talking to other men, other teenage boys when I was a teenager, and they'd be like, God, it must suck to have to pee out of your vagina. And I'm like, you do know that they don't do that. But once again, I was a freak, and I actually saw a girl pee one time. So I was like, oh. And they were like, yeah, there's 3 holes right in a row. And I was like, okay. But I was never a ha-ha. I realized I was the rarity. I was never like, a woman could say the word vagina or lips or clitoris, and I wouldn't be like, I never thought fart jokes were funny. So I know I'm the minority on this. And I know you girls are, when you talk about guys snickering, I've seen it. I know what other guys do, and they make it really hard. Pun intended. I don't know how to fix the problem. My question, I guess, is you said 7th, 8th grade, they should be being taught. Should you have the sex talk the minute it doesn't matter if it's 9. The minute a woman has her period, should you introduce a very, very broad, because technically she can get pregnant.
You can't have, in my opinion, you cannot have a sex education or a sex talk that's a broad sex talk. You just can't, because that leads to more questions. And then there's the potential of, okay, well, now that 10-year-old, 9-year-old little girl goes and tries to figure it out for herself, and now she just scares the hell out of herself. Because I'm sorry, any person that looks up sex on the internet, if you just look up the word sex, there's some really scary shit out there. So I feel like at that point, you're setting that kid up for failure, because now you're creating more questions than you are answers.
So what the hell do you women get told why you're bleeding?
You're becoming a woman.
And
you're a woman.
So
your body's preparing you to be an adult woman. So my youngest daughter came to me today and said, I started my period. What does that mean? The way I would explain it is, 1, you're going through puberty. You're at the start of puberty, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like saying you're at the start of puberty is easier than like, oh, well, 2 years ago, a year ago, you started X, Y, blah, blah, blah. So it's just easier to say, hey, you're at the start of puberty. So at the start of puberty, we have some stuff that happens, right? You're going to start growing hair in certain areas that you probably haven't started growing hair before. And then we're going to go into what periods mean. Menstrual cycles. A week prior to you actually having it, you're going to get an influx of hormones, and those hormones are going to make you a little bit on edge. You're going to be potentially more emotional, right? You're going to start feeling the cramping in this area of your belly. Your nipples can get more tender and more sensitive, depending on the girl, and then you're going to bleed. And all that bleeding is telling you is that you're not pregnant. That's basically what it is. That's its sole purpose, is telling you you're not pregnant. And I was like, so you're gonna bleed, and then you're gonna be okay for like 3-4 weeks, and then you're gonna start it all over again. But you're at the start of puberty, and your body is preparing you to become a young adult
And you don't
woman.
think a 10-year-old girl is going to start asking questions? Like, why would I be pregnant?
And if they do, and then I just would tell them, well, you're not pregnant because you're not having intercourse.
So
And if that
you,
leads to more questions, then there has to be like, now my youngest, right? If she was like, okay, well, what's intercourse? What does that mean? She's old enough now that we could go into depth on that conversation and have the birds and the bees talk, right? If she was much younger, that's when parents get into the whole like, oh, that's something that adults do, and we're not ready for that conversation yet. But if you have further questions, we can talk about it, right? And you kind of direct them in a way to where it answers their curiosity without giving away what it actually is, right? Like, this is something adults do when they want to have a child. This is how babies are brought into the world, right? And you dumb it down to where it's age appropriate, you know? Because I've seen that work with younger kids. I've seen parents do it, and they're like, oh, that's something that adults do. Like, mommy and daddy do that when they want a child. And that's how babies get brought into the world. And then that's when you see mommies carrying babies in their tum-tums. Like, and they dumb it down and they explain it in a way that's relevant and understandable at that age. And normally, I say normally, but usually it curves that curiosity in a way to where and girls are a lot different than boys, where girls would be like, oh, okay, yeah, mommies get pregnant and mommies carry babies, and that's how babies are brought into the world. And so it tings that curiosity in their mind, and then they're done. They're done. Whereas boys are like, to the 10th degree, want to know anything and everything, and if you don't answer it for them, they're gonna go find it somewhere else. So boys, it's completely different.
But I also feel like that's how girls are raised too. Like we're brought up with, the pregnant Barbies and the mommy Barbies. And so not that we already have those answers, but like to a point, I feel like some of that's already answered. Of like, well, oh, obviously mommies get pregnant and mommies have the babies because that's just, and girls are given the baby dolls and they're given, the little water babies that are supposed to be weighted like a real baby. And so I would say naturally, most of the time, girls are kind of already set up for that conversation. So the curiosity is not as much anyway.
so
Yeah,
do,
girls aren't like going through puberty being like, what are penises? What is an orgasm? What's the clitoris do? Whereas boys are like,
we do that.
this feels
No, that
this
we
feels
we do
good.
that.
What is that? What is a vagina? What is it? And like, they're like to the 10th degree, to where if you're like, hey, at a young age of a boy, if you're like, hey, this is what girls have, this is what boys have, you do something together with them and it leads to a child, and the whole it leads to a child is like, they're blind to it. They're like, I no child, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
And they're like, oh, but you said it feels good, so now I have to know because it feels good.
that's
It's like
all
you guys
we
are one
hear.
track one
Yeah,
track mind,
well,
one
that
track mind.
feels good.
Whereas
Yes.
girls, like young girls, every young girl has had a baby doll,
Hmm.
has had a baby doll, and they get the little car seat for it, they get the little stroller for it, they've got little bottles for it, they've got diapers, clothes, the whole nine yards. So girls, it's much easier because it's already like we've been exposed to it nonchalantly as children, to where as we're growing up and you start explaining like, oh, mommies get pregnant, mommies carry a baby, mommy gives birth to baby, and they're like, okay, and the curiosity gone,
Done.
Yeah, because it makes sense
gone.
to you. Do you guys believe in the real babies for teenage
For school.
for school? The real babies
For
that
the
they give
devil
you?
babies?
The,
Yes.
the
Yes.
devil babies. Did you both
Okay,
have?
Yes.
We didn't have those when I was growing up. We didn't have devil
so
I had an
babies.
egg. I had an
I
egg.
hate you for that.
Our health class, yeah, 8th grade, we took an egg, poked the 2 holes in it, and blew all the guts out, and then our teacher signed it, and all we had to do was keep it safe for a week. And
That's fucking.
I literally took my egg and I got a little shoebox thing for it, and I packed it with like toilet paper and paper towels and foam, and then I stuck my egg in it and packed it some more, and I just carried this little box. AKA it stayed in my locker at school around the clock. It was great.
You did not have that, did you?
The devil baby.
I
Now,
didn't take there was a class in high school for that,
child
and
development.
I did not take it. Nope. Zero
Okay,
desire.
so I took it and I got blessed with a little devil baby. This stupid thing cried every 2 freaking hours on the clock. So you have to care for it. So it comes with like the little bracelet. For those that don't know, it's like a mechanical baby, a robot baby, and it has a sensor in the back, and you wear a bracelet that you have to scan every time you change its diaper, every time you feed it, every time that it cries if you're just rocking it. You have to scan the bracelet and then you rock it. Hope to God that that works. Doesn't work? Okay, try to feed it. Nope, doesn't work. You have to change the diaper. And the diapers come with like a little I think there's like a little chip or something inside the diaper that says it's a new diaper. And my little fucker cried every fucking hours, every 2 hours. So it started out with a really cute name. I named him Christopher. He was very cute. And then by the end of the weekend, because I brought it home, you had the choice of you could either bring it home during like through the week. Excuse me. So you'd have it for a whole week, or you could bring it home for the full weekend, and that would count as your week because you had it for 24 hours or 72 hours. So I brought it home Friday night. That thing cried every 2 hours. I woke up Saturday morning, was exhausted. By
I feel
Sunday
like the
night,
robot babies are over the top. Like they're not
no, because I had a girl in
legit.
my class that had a baby that slept 6 hours at a time.
I think it's trying to simulate, like, if you have a colicky baby, because my son, like, I never understood why everybody had such a hard time with babies. I'm sorry. I thought babies would, like, they are the easiest things in the world to take care of, in my opinion. My son slept. Like, I had a godsend. Like, he was not colicky. He slept. Once you changed his diaper, he was fine. Like, and if you didn't want to carry him around, you put him in the little crib thingy and you walk and you do your chores. Like, I had no problems taking care of a baby. It was like one of the easiest things I've ever done in my life.
See, like I literally by the end of my weekend, I was so hysterically like sleep deprived that a spider like this big in my head was like this big. And I like full freaked out. My mom and dad came running into my bedroom. I was like, what is the matter? What's going on? And I was like, there's a spider. And I'm like level 10 hysterics. My mom took the baby from me. I was like, you need to sleep. And took
How,
care of it. And
how old
the
were you
damn
at
thing didn't
this?
cry. 14. It was my freshman year.
Did it work though? Did it
Oh,
say
yeah, I
like
did not want kids.
I don't no not kids, like I don't want to see a penis. Like I don't want nothing to do with fucking
No,
nothing. Okay.
no, I don't think it accomplished that. I think it just accomplished like I'm gonna prevent. I just don't want to kick. Like if this is what babies are, this thing's the devil, and I'm gonna chuck it at a wall. Like, and I almost failed the project because my brother thought it was funny to like pick the kid up and like shake it, and I was like, "You're gonna break its neck. I'm gonna fail this project." Like, and I like flipped out, but it worked as far as like I was willing to do whatever I needed to not get pregnant.
So you would have easily said no to sex.
Oh yeah, and
Okay,
I
so
did.
yeah, okay, so would you guys say that yes, that should be the devil baby should be a mandatory thing? Not an egg,
Yes.
because the egg thing is fucking, that's so gay.
That's bullshit.
That
That's
is
bullshit. And that's the
so gay.
easiest thing.
You ain't kidding, because
Who cares? That's for you.
you can do the shoebox
Bullshit.
thing like you did.
Yeah.
The home ec thing, or whatever it's called, where you get
Child
the baby.
development.
Yeah, child development. No, I don't think it should be mandatory. I mean,
It work.
But I think it should be mandatory like your like junior or senior year. Like I don't think it was fair.
And then
Now,
you're already
granted,
having sex. I'm sorry, by junior or senior year, it's too late. These girls were already pregnant by freshman year.
no. But like if you did it as like a junior senior project, I mean, okay, but that's fair because my freshman year we had 3 juniors that were pregnant. We had
Yeah.
literally 3 of them.
maybe sophomore year.
No.
Sophomore
Okay.
year.
Freshman year. High school is
No.
the
No.
devil. So many
The
kids
reason I
are.
say no is that school, that's not what school is for. School
But it
should not
wasn't
prep
just
you for what it's like to be a parent and all that jazz. Like,
but it
so I
wasn't
don't think
just
it's
that.
fair. I don't think it's fair to make them do a semester or even a full year of this Planned Parenthood thing.
It was
It just seems like, nah.
it was just like a first quarter thing. So like I think so the baby was only a week or a weekend, and that was it. The rest of it was like they went over like baby food and like what babies actually need and like pricing out babies, and so
So
like
maybe make
what's
it
it
a
gonna
part of health class because every freshman has to take health.
Okay.
And health specifically talks about like we went into everything from like STDs, STIs, HIV. We didn't really dive any further into that as far as like sexually transmitted stuff. And then we went into like bipolar, schizophrenia, and
see we didn't.
addictions and stuff
See,
like that. So
I
that was health. So I think in health, when you're learning about STIs and STDs and stuff like that, like yeah, okay, maybe like hey, this weekend everybody's getting a baby, and then on Monday it's due back to return.
I can get on board with put it in with health class.
Yeah,
Like
so
have
can I.
a small like
Yeah.
a month of
Because
it or whatever.
then you're killing you're getting two birds with one stone, right? They're
Right.
taking health, which is mandatory. You have to take health your freshman year. And then you're also being like, hey, we talked about sex, we talked about STIs and STDs and HIV and all this other shit. Guess what? Another side effect of sex is a baby. So
Yeah.
this weekend, everybody's taking a baby.
See, and I think if nothing else, I could almost get on board with saying 7th and 8th grade is a little by freshman year, and it better be the first thing you learn about. I think because I think parents have failed so badly at talking to their teenagers about sex, hence the reason there's 8 billion people in the world. But freshman year, if you wait any longer than freshman year, you're too late. You've missed the boat. Sorry, your kids are having sex. And
Okay, so in middle school, because I think we all agreed that they should have a form of sex ed in middle school.
Mhm.
What should we be teaching in middle school?
ooh, I think you should teach everything except like extreme. We're talking fetishes, positions, shit like that. I'm sorry, in freshman year, they should get in depth. We're talking like, I say this for one reason. I know you both are giving me that fucking look. The reason I say
I
that,
think I just found Damien's ick.
this right here, this right here, this is the
I found
reason.
Damien's ick.
This is the reason you need to get in depth. Because if I want to look up 3-headed dildos,
A
yeah,
perfect example. You could look up pterodactyl porn.
yeah, any kid. Now, just so everybody knows, I live in Arizona. Everybody knows what Pornhub is and XXX and all the porn sites. If you go to look, you cannot look at Pornhub in Arizona anymore. Can't do it.
Good.
There's a lot of porn sites that you can't look at. So Arizona passed a law saying that you had to be 18 or over. So in order to enforce this, the sites have to age verify. And a lot of the sites said the only way we can age verify, truly age verify, is if you take a picture of your driver's license or ID card if you don't have a driver's license. And most people, they think that most people won't go on a porn site. They're very underestimating men. Trust us. If we get to see a naked woman, we're going to whip out a driver's license. But they think they'll lose customers. So they just said, fuck it. We're just going to make it. Like you go on Pornhub right now in Arizona, and it's got this long paragraph saying, yeah, we don't even offer it in Arizona anymore. It's completely blocked unless you have a VPN and then you do all that shit. But yeah, it's completely
Yeah, and I
blocked.
agree with that. I think it's mind-boggling to me that a child can go get onto a porn site without any real verification. That's mind-boggling
yeah.
to me. But to go look at a gun, like there's a lot of websites to go buy a gun, or just to go look at guns, you have to have a picture ID submitted front and back.
See,
That's mind-boggling to me. And America is so high-strung right now on gun rights this and gun rights that, but porn is just out there for everybody and anybody to go look at.
Yep. And I think that's why in freshman year, you need to have a teacher that is not embarrassed, and they need to, because I'm sorry, when I was growing up, the most I had was like if I stole my dad's Hustler. And if anybody doesn't know, like Playboy was like, yeah, you got to see naked women, but it wasn't like in depth.
Hustler was like raunchy.
Hustler was raunchy. And when I mean raunchy, it's you got to see a penis and a vagina. You got to see doggy style. You got to see maybe 2 guys on 1 girl or 2 girls and 1 guy. Like it wasn't raunchy like the internet is now. Like if you have a fetish, it's on the internet and anybody can find it. And you don't have to try very hard. If you look up breast cancer, that was a big thing in a lot of the high schools that a lot of the girls were wanting to do the report on breast cancer. You look up breast cancer on the internet, and on the right side of all the stuff, you got fisting and grandmas, and you got every weird fetish you could imagine. And all you did was look up a breast cancer report. That's all you wanted to do. You wanted to find some breast cancer information. And then on the right side, you got, ads for everything. So,
But you don't think that it's on the parents to keep an eye on their child's browsing history? I mean, there's so many parental controls nowadays for internet
if a
that I think it's
kid wants it, he'll get it.
Yeah, they'll find it. They'll find it.
I do believe it
So
is
I
on the
don't.
parent.
Okay, so I don't agree. Okay, so I think middle school, right? Yes, I think you should teach abstinence because abstinence is the only 100% way to
Mhm.
prevent pregnancy. So I think it should be talked about. Do I think it needs to be emphasized like crazy? No, but it needs to be taught as an option because it is the only 100% way. I think everybody should be learning that, right? I think you should learn about birth control. I think you should learn about the different types of birth control, right? You should learn about the pill, IUD, the stick that goes in the arm, the ring, the diaphragms or whatever the hell they're called that go internally, right? You should learn about all of it. And you should learn about the different types of condoms, like how there's condoms that have, the spermicide on the inside. There's kinds that come with lubricant, kind that come without. Like you should learn about all the different types, right? You should obviously learn about STIs or STDs, whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays, and HIV, because that is a huge thing that a lot of people get affected by, and they didn't even know they had it, which I know girls' symptoms are a lot less than men, whereas men are like, I'm peeing fire, what's wrong? And 9 times out of 10, you have a sexually transmitted disease or infection.
They did a report saying that when I grew up in the 80s, HIV was like this scariest thing in the world. It was a death sentence, and it was the scariest thing in the world. Nowadays, I just read something that if you asked a teenager, would you rather have herpes or HIV? The majority of kids said they'd rather have HIV. HIV is not scary anymore. You could look at most teenagers don't think HIV, and I grew up in the 80s, so HIV is like, I don't even want to be around somebody that has HIV. But that's me growing up that way. But I mean, I know how it's transmitted. I know it's not scary. You can kiss somebody with HIV. You can hug somebody with HIV. You're not going to get it. But it is so like not a big deal now that, yeah, kids would rather have HIV than like herpes or chlamydia. And chlamydia is like the easiest one to get rid of. Like,
Yeah.
3-4 days. It sucks to test for it, but 3-4 days of penicillin and you're good. Like,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling to me. Like,
Yeah. I've talked when I worked at high school, the kids would talk about, their day, or some of them would talk about their sex ed, and some of the things that kids believe is absolutely, they are not being taught. And to leave it, I would love to say, leave it up to the parents. I would love to have parents have total autonomy on this one. I wouldn't want it in schools at all. That would be my utopia. But I live in reality, and parents suck at this. Every one of you guys suck at that. You are a rarity. If your daughter came to you and said, how do you give a blowjob? Other than the fact that you are not qualified to teach her this, it's like brushing your teeth, isn't it? I don't know.
yeah.
But
Go grab some stick-like popsicles. Have fun.
yes, but
Don't use your teeth. That's all I know.
But that's the extent of your knowledge. But honestly, First of all, you would be very, before she did it, would you be like, thank God you came to me first?
Yes, I'd be like, I'm so proud of you right now. I'm so proud. I'd probably cry.
Okay.
Because I'm kidding you not. Anytime my kids do something that makes me like, because I don't do the typical like, oh, I'm so proud of you for this. Oh, I'm so proud. Like no, I tell you when I'm proud of you, you'll know. When I'm genuinely proud of you, you will know.
And I think
So
most parents.
I don't do the praise. I don't do the praise every single day. Like if my kid comes home and she's like, oh, Mama B, like I have a B in my class, I'll be like, good job. That's it. I'm not going to tell you I'm proud of you. Now, if you come home magically and you're like, hey, I have straight A's, I'm going to be like, fuck yeah, kid.
Okay.
I'm proud of you.
But
Awesome.
I would love it. Please leave it in the comments. Any parent that watches this, I would like to know if your 15-year-old daughter came to you and said, Mom, I'm really thinking about going down or giving a blowjob, however the kid would word it. Before she did it, would you scold her? Or would you be like, thank God you told me, let's talk about it? Because I would say 90% of the moms and 99.9% of the dads would be like, who's the fucking dude? I'm going to kill him. Instead of being because to come to your mom or dad and say, hey, I'm thinking of this. I don't think most parents get that. I mean, hopefully your kids do. I mean, you would love
Oh my
it.
God. I know it's happening because my oldest went to homecoming over the weekend and one of her friends was having a party at her place afterwards for her birthday and she was like, "Hey, I'd really like to go to this birthday party afterwards, but I don't know if there's going to be stuff there." And I was like, "You're 15. What is stuff? Just get out with it. Like, be mature, please." And she was like, "Well, I don't know if they're going to have alcohol or not because in Texas, if you are 14 and above and your parent is there and they give permission and they're supervising, you can drink." And a lot of parents will get approval from other parents letting them know like, "Hey, we're here, we're letting them drink, we're monitoring them, whatever, whatever."
That's New
And I was
Jersey.
like,
Yeah,
and I
Jersey's
was
like
like,
that too.
okay. I was like, well, this is a conversation obviously that we're gonna have to have like with me and your mom present, right? I was like, but I'm glad you're bringing it up.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That teenager to look at their parents and say, hey, I don't know if there's alcohol. I'd still like to go to the party, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's a step forward. It's a step in the right direction, right? Like I would much rather my kid, let's say they go to a party, right? Whether there's booze or drugs or whatever, I would rather they go to that party. And if there's stuff there, right? Hey, I just want to let you guys like shoot a text. Hey, I just want to let you guys know there's drugs and alcohol here. Just FYI. Okay, cool. What kind of drugs are you talking about? We know there's pot or people have some off even if it's off the wall stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. I appreciate you telling me.
Please don't take
Be
it.
safe. Be safe. Make good choices. And if you partake in anything, you need to call. Do not go getting in a car. Do not go driving yourself home. You need to call.
Would you, if your daughter or son, any of your kids, when they were of age, we'll say, if they're 15, 16, if they call you up and say, Mom, I am plastered and you didn't know about it, I'm plastered. I have, like, I could drive home, but I'd rather you come and get me. Would you be mad at them? Or would you be like, I'm on my way. Let me get you, bring them home and say, okay, we're not going to talk about, you're not going to get scolded because you, in a drunken state, you still called me, even though you knew you could be in trouble.
Yes, no, I would want them to call me. They wouldn't be in trouble simply for the fact that they called. Like that would be from the get-go. Like if my oldest or whatever of my children at that age called and said, "Hey, I'm at this party and I'm toasted. I don't want to drive home. I don't want to get in a car. Can you come grab me?" Cool. What's the address? I'll be right there. I don't care what time it is. I don't care if it's 2 or 3 in the morning, whatever. Call me. I got you. I'll come get you. I'd be upset that they didn't tell me that stuff was there when they got there, but I'd be exceptionally proud and happy that they called me in a state where they knew they shouldn't have been driving, right? Or they knew they shouldn't have gotten in a car with somebody else.
Well, most teenagers know they're making bad decisions, and then they did a good decision instead of what most teenagers do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would much rather my kids call me. And that's for anything. Like one of my daughters went and stayed the night at somebody's house, and we didn't necessarily know the parents very well or at all. And I made it very clear. I was like, look, I was like, if anything makes you uncomfortable, you call me. I don't care what time it is. I don't care what's going on. If you are uncomfortable at any point in time, you call me and I will come get you. Like I make that stuff abundantly clear to the kids anytime they go anywhere where we are not going to be there. Like if you're uncomfortable, you don't feel safe, something weird happens, what like you just get the EBGBs, I don't care. Call me, I will come get you. I don't care what time it is. Yeah. I'd rather they be upfront about it.
So, at what age should both of you, like, I mean, did you guys call your parents? If both of you did,
Was never in a situation like that.
you never drank and you never did pot away from your mom.
No, I did pot away from my mom, but like well, okay, fair enough. The driver was high. The driver was definitely high, but like definitely like probably I definitely was not in a situation where I could have drove. I was dying. Like I was. But the first time that I tried pot, I did it up the street. I snuck up my back door. Sorry, mom and dad. Snuck out the back door with a friend of mine at that time and went to the local park. Like, I don't know, 15-minute walk and we just meandered through the neighborhood like a bunch of hooligans, and I snuck back in.
Yeah, no. I think as parents we all just need to do better. Like we need to make it okay for our kids to come and talk to us because we're all they have. As
We
parents,
also
you are all your children has, and you don't want them learning from other kids and getting the wrong information.
we also need to do better at like understanding that kids make mistakes and not to hold those mistakes over their head forever, because I think that's the biggest thing with most kids. It's like, oh, well, my parents are going to kill me because they found out that I did whatever. Like, they're going to kill me. And I would rather, like Hannah said, I would rather have a situation where my kid is, has a creepy feeling, or they go to a party and there's drugs and alcohol. And instead of just being so scared that they're going to get in trouble, be like, okay, I know that I can call mom and dad, and I know that they'll get me out of this situation in 0.5 seconds. I had a situation growing up where I was staying with my grandmother over the summer, and I don't know what she is, I guess she's a cousin, was talking shit about my grandfather and my Pepe. And she, grown ass woman, I was like 13, I think, and she was calling me all sorts of names, like yelling and screaming at me. My parents were 7.5 hours away. I called my mom in tears. And my mom and dad got out of bed right then and there and drove the 7.5 hours up to get me immediately. Like, and they were hours away. And that was just simply because a grown adult was yelling at me.
So on a different note, do you think teenagers can consent to sex?
I think it depends on the situation.
Hannah?
She's like, nope, not even a little bit.
I don't think children have the ability to consent.
And I'm not talking about like with older men or older girls. I'm talking about like 2 16. You don't think they have
I think no. Obviously, I know it happens, right? Like after
right?
a teenager,
Yeah,
I know it
that's
happens.
right.
But I think no, because giving consent implies that you know everything about it, right? You know everything about it. You know the consequences. You know the repercussions. You know the good, the bad, the ugly. And I don't think as a teenager you have the ability to give consent because you don't know.
So if we had a magical, you know, wand, you would easily wave it over all of your kids and say, well, you're not having sex until you're at least 18.
Yeah.
You would take that bodily autonomy away from them.
Yes.
So you don't think teenagers have bodily autonomy?
We've already discussed this. No.
It got deleted.
I know. It got deleted. No, perfect example, okay? Teenager, don't care what age. Teenager, daughter comes home, is pregnant. Does she get to choose whether she keeps that baby or not? Or do the parents? Because if she, okay, perfect example, my hospital that I work at, we had a 13-year-old come in 26 weeks pregnant. 26 weeks pregnant. Who's raising that baby?
Well, it's not her, obviously. So
I had a
you
friend at 14 got pregnant with a 19-year-old baby,
okay?
and the
see, and
19-year-old,
right there, that's rape. That's statutory rape.
Yes.
She does
so
not have the ability to consent to that 19 or 18-year-old boy. That's statutory rape. If my daughter came home to me today and was like,
I'm pregnant.
I had sex with a 19-year-old boy, that's not sex, that's rape. Who is the dude? Because I'm fucking his world up right now.
well, so her dad
Because at
forced her
18 or
to get
19, because at 18 or 19, you fucking know better. And if you don't know better, your parents failed. The school system failed you. Everybody has failed you. And you fucked up and you
Ooh.
fucked up.
So how old? Go
her
ahead.
parents forced her to get an abortion.
Okay. Oh, actually, yeah, I know who you're
That's
talking
where I
about.
was going with that.
Yep, I know who you're talking about. If your daughter, and we'll just make up an age, 14, came to you and said, I'm pregnant and I'm having this kid, do you think the parent can override that and said, no, you're getting an abortion? You totally believe that? Do you think that?
I think that because ultimately at the end of the day, who's raising that child? Like, yes, sure, this child can go get on Snap and get on Wick and everything, right? Because they're having a baby, whatever. But normally, they can get on Wick, they can get on Snap, all that stuff. Who's paying for your clothes, your bottles, your toys, your crib? Who's paying for all of that? your parents. And even if you go talk to the other person and involved parents, what if those parents are like, we can't afford all this? Like, even if she gets on WIC and she gets on STEP, like, I'm sorry, but we cannot give you all money. And our 14-year-old son sure as fuck can't give you money because he's a 14-year-old boy and he can't get a job right now. So at the end of the day, it should be a mutual agreement. And if the other parents are like, we want nothing to do with this, like, sure, our kid fucked up and we'll hold him accountable for that, but we want nothing to do with this. That's, as y'all's parents of the female who is now pregnant, that's on y'all. If my spouse and I agree that you're not having it, you're not having it. And that is a consequence that you are going to have to learn through a reality. Not all good choices are good choices. Call me an asshole, call me whatever you want, but I don't think the child has the maturity or even the mental capacity to consider, to decide.
And you totally disagree with this.
I do.
Why?
I remember she called me the next day and like it's like a super traumatizing thing. And I think that if now if they as a family decide, okay, that's the route they want to go, fine. If they as a family decide that that's, they want to keep this child and the parents are going to help raise it and blah blah blah, great, awesome, fantastic. But I think the body aspect of it, I think, should be solely on the girl. You were irresponsible enough to have sex. These are your consequences. You have to deal with it for 9 months. Now, I believe that the parent should be able to look at her and go, you're not keeping it. You're putting it up for adoption because,
Yeah, I'm not saying abortion would be my go-to, right? I'm not saying abortion would be my go-to, but we're not keeping that child. That child's
right.
not staying. If we
Okay,
choose to
I
go
assumed
through
that
it,
you were talking about abortion.
So
no,
did
no, no,
I.
no, 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 no. Abortion is like last.
Resort.
Abortion to me is very low on the totem pole. It's the
Yeah.
absolute last option. I would
And
look
there's
at
so
everything
many
else.
awesome, like, there's so many awesome adoption routes to go through where, like, that little girl, and I'm sorry, but at 14, you're a little girl still, you can sit down and you can look at these parents and be like, okay, I want this baby to have parents like what I had, that, they go on family vacations, they do this, they do that. And there's like lists and essentially like background checks and everything for those parents to pick through. So for me, I think that that's where the parent should have sole say. If the family wants to keep it, great, that's on them. The parents want to raise it, fine. There's a 15-year age gap between child and 14-year age gap between child and child's baby. So you can get away with raising it as one of your own kids until they're older and then explain to them like, hey, this is actually, your mom, blah, blah, blah. But bodily autonomy, no. I think that should be the sole. At the end of the day, that
So
should be
you
her choice.
okay? So you don't think a parent should force an abortion?
Correct.
Now, do you think, Hannah? Do you think a parent can force an abortion?
Yes.
Okay.
If they decide that that's the best route, that's the best option, then yes, it's solely up to the parents. Sorry, you're still a child. Like you might be a teenager, but you are still a child.
But why? You're not necessarily spending more money while she's pregnant. You're not, because the adoption agency pays for everything for that woman giving up her child. And the couple that you choose pays for everything.
Like, look, I'm still saying that like abortion is like last option, right? But if two parents decide, hey, we're going the abortion route, I think that's their right. And I think that they should be allowed to. Now, don't get me wrong, I think abortions are still messed up. Like, I'm still obviously pro choice and everything, but I know abortions are not just cut dry. Like, we take it out and that's it. You move on with your life. Like, I know there's irreparable damages that happen. There's traumas, right? There's regret. There's everything. Everything comes with it. But at the end of the day, the parents have the say. And if the parents say you're getting an abortion, then guess what? You're getting an abortion.
So just out of curiosity, that 13-year-old that came in that was 26 weeks pregnant, did she? Because I know you can't give out too much medical stuff. I mean, were her parents with her?
Her mom was with her.
And was CPS or anybody called? Do you think the parents should be in trouble at all for a 13-year-old girl getting pregnant?
No.
How old is the boy?
Under 18. 15. Yeah, when we're talking over 18, we're talking now statutory rape.
parents can't control everything, right? Like I can teach my kids all day, get good grades, do great in school, go to college, go to a vocational trade job, right? Whatever. I can teach them all these things and try to instill in them to be great, amazing, outstanding citizens of society. But at the end of the day, they're still they still have their own personalities. They still are making their own decisions. Now, granted, though, some of those decisions are limited, right? Like my child can't go buy a fucking car right now, obviously, right? You know, can't get a tattoo, right? A lot of their rights are limited, but they get to decide for themselves if what they're doing is right and what they're doing is wrong. So, no, I don't think parents should be held liable just because their child gets pregnant. Like, parents cannot watch their children 24/7.
So do you think, okay, I agree with that, of course. So going back to some of the other questions, we answered all the other ones. And I'm going to say this in a broad statement because I know you think there should be a divorce, but should sex ed be LGBTQ plus? Wow, that was fucking uneventful.
No,
It's just
because
like I
it's
brought up
not.
with like Texas. Like Texas doesn't want to. Texas is very much against teaching transgender and identity and the pronouns and all this other bullshit.
No,
But then they
no, I said
specifically
LGBTQ, like
no, 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 no. I
lesbian,
know, I
gay,
know.
all
No,
of
no, no,
it.
I know, I know. I don't think that that should be taught. Sex should be very broad. This is what sex is. You should teach oral. You should teach actual intercourse, right? You can teach all the things that encompass sex, but you should not break it down and be like, this is what girl and girl does. This is what boy and boy does. This is what men and women do. Like, it does not need to be broken down that far. I believe that is parents' rights. Parents' rights. You should not be teaching that homosexuality is a unacceptable lifestyle.
Right.
Like, that shouldn't
I
be a
don't believe
thing.
that.
That's not a thing. You don't need to teach what transgenders are going through and blah blah like bro, if people want to know about that, they can go find out on their own. If your children are curious about that, either one, you've been great parents and they feel comfortable bringing it to you, or you haven't been the greatest parents and they don't bring it to you and they use their lovely cell phones and computers and they go find it out for themselves.
They can Google the
I
shit.
don't think you should be teaching. I don't think you should be teaching it. I don't think it needs to be taught. No.
Okay, so let's divorce it. Let's just talk about the LGB because you can get an S. Two guys can get an STD.
Yes.
So when you talk about STDs, so not teaching it as in this is what
I
guys
think
do,
it should
this
be
is what
taught as
girls.
a broad statement. Anybody and everybody can get an STD or an STI or HIV or AIDS or whatever. Everybody and anybody can get
Yeah.
it.
So just
That
because,
should be enough explanation. Now, if
yeah,
somebody pops the question and says, well, what if two girls? Can two girls get set? Can two girls, like if they're doing
right,
stuff, can they get an STI?
yeah,
Yes. Anybody and everybody
yeah,
can get an STI.
yeah. The only disease you can't get is a baby. That's the only parasite that you can't catch with being gay.
Yeah, and see, I don't think sex ed, even at the high school level, I don't think sex ed needs to go crazy in depth. Like, I don't think you need to show them, or even, like, you definitely don't need to be showing them that, like, oh, people have some crazy off the wall fetishes. Like, people are into, like rape fantasies, or people are into, balloon play. Like, you can do a broad statement and just say that, hey, people do have types of fetishes. Here's an example of fetishes. Like, people are into feet. People find feet arousing or attractive or whatever. Um, some people are into role play. I think you should keep it broad, but you should just let them know, like, hey, there are fetishes. People do have fetishes. You should talk about your fetishes with your partner. And this goes into like healthy relationships, right? Where you talk about this stuff. But I don't think you need to go crazy into depth and be like, here on Pornhub, we have a man doing this to a woman or a woman like, no. No, that's where their own curiosity educational minds should explore on their own, or they should bring it up with their parents.
So what happens? Okay, so do you think this? So should the federal government come up with a law saying every freshman is going to get health class? The health class we were talking about, not the
Yeah,
health
I think
class
it
I
should
have
be.
now.
I think it should be a thing. Yes, I think it should be a thing. I think it would not only. Education is important, right? And even sex education is important. I think it would help prevent, like, the fact that, like, there's schools out there that aren't covering consent. What the
That
fuck?
one fucking boggles my
Consent is
mind.
the consent is like a number one thing. Like if I walk up to if I'm out on a date with somebody and I'm like, "Hey, I want to eat your snatch." And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "I never learned about consent. So fuck you. Guess what I'm going to do?" Like, no, like you're crossing so many lines. Like they should be teaching that consent's a thing, just like they should be teaching in healthy relationships. Like just because you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend doesn't mean you don't have to ask for consent. Just because you're married doesn't mean you don't have to ask for consent. And this is why. We'll talk a little bit about what rape is and what that means. We'll talk a little bit about sexual assault and sexual harassment and what that means. Like, if you do something to someone that is unwanted, you can get in trouble. And we're not talking like a slap on the wrist or, oh, ISS from school. No, we're talking like big boy, big girl trouble. You go to
Okay,
jail.
so let's take this a different route. Damien, you lived in Europe for a while,
Yeah,
right?
many years.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Europe has a very lax look on sex, right? It's not
Yeah,
as taboo over there.
But yeah,
And
it's
they're
totally laid back in Europe. Europe does not give a shit.
and they
and
have less
they're
teenage pregnancies.
right. So is that
And that's why. It's
because
because it's not taboo.
right? So why is it taboo here and it's not there?
Okay, so do you want to know like the theory or like I have facts to back this up?
I think the theory is religion.
That's not the theory.
That's the facts.
That's the facts. So the reason we are so taboo on sex is because when we came and colonized America, when we came to America, the reason we came to America is because Great Britain, they wanted to explore, and this is not the sole reason, but a big reason was it wasn't religious enough. You have normally who discovered America, not discovered, who colonized America, was the most religious people. So everybody that says America wasn't founded on religion and it wasn't considered in the Bill of Rights and stuff like that and all that stuff is they're fucking lying to you. We are jailed. Our Christian values is what built America, hands down. It is ingrained in the Constitution. It's ingrained in everything. It may not say it specifically, and a lot of people put up, what's the papers that were written about we have to keep religion and
The Constitution?
most people think
No,
it's
it's
the
the
Constitution. Most
it's
people
the
think it's in there.
saying
It's not.
Of religion and state are separate.
Yeah, I think Benjamin I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Benjamin Franklin that wrote that in papers. Most people think it's in the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say religion and state are separate. Doesn't say it.
Why do you? Which is just what boggles my mind, right? So I get it. Religion is a huge part of
Yes.
America, right? I'm all about it. I'm all about you being religious. Kudos. In the Old Testament, God literally talks about how men and women are put on this earth, and you shall run domain and you shall reproduce. That was our sole purpose, was to
Yeah, when we had two
control
fucking
Earth, and to procreate.
yeah, when we had two fucking people
Procreate.
on the earth.
It's
Okay,
designed.
we
Like
got 8
humans are
billion now.
designed to procreate.
They are. Yes, our sole purpose.
So I understand that there's other scriptures in like the New Testament and even in the Old Testament about like, men wasting their seed and whatever.
That's the Old
right?
Testament.
Yeah, but simply saying like, oh, you can't have sex until you're married, or you shouldn't have sex until you're married. Like, yes, that's all lovely and dandy, and there's still a decent amount of people that go out in life and they don't have sex until they're married. Congrats for you. I think those people are amazing, and you're very faithful. Like that is true faithfulness in my opinion. But that's not everybody. That's not everybody.
I
So
wouldn't
I
even
don't
say
think we
that's the
should be
majority.
encompassing everybody. Sex being taboo is so mind-boggling to me because humans are social butterflies. Put a single person in a room by themselves. Granted, they can do whatever they want, right? You can give them a computer, you can give them TV, you can give them music, you can give them entertainment, whatever, but you put them in that room by themselves where they do not have any actual physical contact with another human, and they will drastically and rapidly decline.
Mm-hmm.
Humans are not meant to be alone. We are meant to be with other humans. And guess what comes with being with other humans? Sex. It is biology 101. So sex should not be taboo because it is human nature. Human nature.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, since the statistics bear it out, the Bible Belt's the worst one. If you don't teach your kids, if you do not teach your kids about sex, they're going to learn, whether you like it or
And they're going to
not.
learn, and they're going to learn all the wrong ways. They're not going to learn about protection. They're not going to learn about the risks, right? And I'm sure majority of them will know that like sex obviously leads to a baby, but because they haven't learned how to prevent it, or that there's other things than simply just putting your penis into a vagina, right? There's other things to do that can help curve that need. And if that's what you're going to want to do, is you're going to simply want to do intercourse, there's ways to help prevent having a baby. Like, this is a crazy thing too. Like, so I got on Planned Parenthood website the other day.
God.
Mind you, I had never visited a Planned Parenthood website. Okay, like I think Planned Parenthood has a horrible reputation because of the whole abortion thing. But I actually learned a lot on Planned Parenthood. Like they had a lot of information that I didn't know they gave out. Like you could go on there and watch videos about how to talk to your partner about having sex. You can get on there and watch videos about how to learn about birth control and what's the right birth control for you and take a quiz to find the best one for you, or condoms, or healthy relationships, how to talk to your partners about stuff. And I was like, wow, Planned Parenthood has a lot of stuff. And the only thing that comes to people's mind when they think of Planned Parenthood is abortion.
You can also take pregnancy tests, STI tests, all of that for like $10. Like it's super cheap and it's for, I mean, not for nothing, but yeah, Planned Parenthood may not have the best reputation, but it is beneficial for women to have it. They give you outlets to go if you do get pregnant and you don't want to do an abortion, but you want to do adoption. They give you outlets for that. They hook you up with all of that. They give you a counselor to talk to. Like they're actually so involved that it's kind of crazy to me that they have such a bad reputation because at the end of the day, they're just there for women.
Yeah, and it mind boggles me that like there's not more information kind of put out about it, right? Like I'm 31 years old, and if somebody was like, "Oh, I went to Planned Parenthood," I'd be like, "Oh, you got an abortion. Kudos for you." Like I would have never thought anything else because Planned Parenthood has such a bad stigma and a bad reputation right now that if you don't know how to have these conversations, point your kids in the right direction somewhere where they might be able to get this information
Yeah.
from somewhat professionals. Like
Okay,
go and
free
go and
clinics have the same thing.
nobody talks about free clinics either though.
Yeah, you know why? Because free clinics don't do fucking abortions.
Maybe that's why. But I mean, I think it's beneficial either way. Like, I think we shouldn't be bad mouthing Planned Parenthood. Like, they've got some beneficial stuff on there. Like, I spent at least like an hour on their website just flicking through stuff.
I don't like Planned Parenthood strictly. I mean, and we'll get into this in a different podcast, but the reason I don't like Planned Parenthood is because of the abortion. The fact that they perform abortion right there. One, I don't care if they have 10 attaboys. One, oh shit, ruins it. Just because somebody does something really good. Okay, you guys are saying great things about Planned Parenthood, but in my eyes, an abortion is terrible. So if somebody is a great person, like they give the charity, they do all kinds of stuff. They're a great person. But on the weekends, they may murder a baby. Does that automatically make them a great place or a great person? No, they murder a fucking baby. I don't care how much good they do. They murder a fucking baby. So honestly, I don't care how much good they do. They murder a baby. End of discussion for me. So
Okay, so back to like the whole Bible Belt thing. Do you genuinely think that they're like in 2025, like they don't have access to phones to look up birth control or any of that? Or do you think it's genuinely the fact that they don't have those resources out there that causes their pregnancy to go up?
I think it's simply the fact that they feel that they have no resources. I mean, like you take, small town USA down in the deep south, Bible Belt USA, like let's say they have a free clinic or a Planned Parenthood in their neighborhood, in their community, whatever. This girl walks in there or this young boy walks in there, the whole town's going to know. The whole town's going to know. So then it's the stigma, and it's the Jenny, all the moms are talking after church. Oh, Jenny, I saw little Timmy walk into a Planned Parenthood the other day. You might want to get things right in your household. Just saying. Like, like
Yeah.
I think it's the stigma or whatever. And I think it's got a bad rep. Like, a teenager comes to their parent and wants to talk about sex, and they're like, don't have sex. You will get pregnant and die.
Well, you guys, I'm glad you
He
guys
doesn't
are.
even go here.
I'm glad you guys understand this fucking joke because I don't.
So I think it's just that. I think it's just the don't have sex till you're married. Don't have sex till you're married. We don't talk about sex. You and your future wife will talk about sex. You and your future husband will talk about sex. And because they've never talked about sex, then they have zero idea like how sex is supposed to work. Like they know nothing about it. And because they've never had these conversations about sex, they don't know how to go about talking about sex.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
You know?
I was curious on that. You just said the Bible Belt, and they have obviously every kid pretty much has Google now. So why are they getting pregnant if they have Google? So coming from two females, you're in the middle of your period. Can you get pregnant?
No.
No.
Okay. If you look up on Google on this says Teens Health, this is a medical site. It's possible. It doesn't go into detail. It just says it's possible to get pregnant if you have sex during your period.
No.
I feel like that's a no.
I'm looking at this. They're not the only site. Let's see.
How possible? Because if you come back and you say the possibility is 0.0001%, the answer is no, it's not possible.
There's a possibility to have sex with a guy that just came on the toilet seat and you go in there and sit down. There's that possibility. No, it doesn't give a percentage. So if I'm a teenager that, say I'm 14, 15 years old and I know nothing and I want to look this up, I'm looking at this. Yes, it is possible to get pregnant during your period. Now, Google says, although unlikely, Kids Health doesn't say unlikely. American Pregnancy Association, let's see what they say. Can you get pregnant? They say most likely you will not. So I have 3 sites that tell me 3 different things. This is why just saying, hey, they have Google doesn't work, because I got 3 sites. I got the American Pregnancy Association.
Google this for me. Google how to have sex.
Ooh.
I can guarantee majority of kids when they're curious about how to have sex and see what the first website tells you.
Okay,
As long as
so
it's not like a
AI,
or any.
sex is a physical act that involves intimacy, consent, mutual pleasure, typically including foreplay, intercourse, and aftercare. That did not tell me how to have sex because most kids, most teenagers
Don't do any of that.
don't have any idea what, well, obviously they're not teaching fucking consent. So they don't know mutual pleasure. It's a race. If you can't beat me, that's your fucking fault. Typically include foreplay, intercourse, and aftercare. I will.
Okay, so type up how do I have intercourse?
How do I have?
Okay. Well, he looks that up just really quick. So I looked up, can you get pregnant while you're on your period, right?
Yeah.
So it says yes. It's a possibility to get pregnant during your period, although it's unlikely. So then it goes into the explanation of ovulation timing. None of this is saying, so like ovulation timing, it says ovulation, the release of an egg from the ovary, can occur close to the start of your period or even during it. Almost never. Because you ovulate and then you get your period. So almost never. It says sperm survival. So the sperm can survive in the female reproductive tract for up to 5 days. If you have a short menstrual cycle, if it's shorter than usual, ovulation may occur earlier, closer to your period. And then irregular periods. Women with irregular periods may not know when they're ovulating, increasing the chance of unprotected sex during their period.
The second tab I clicked on, can I get pregnant while on my period? The second one I clicked on, it says the chances are very low.
So for your answers,
Never zero.
So you're saying there's a chance. Okay, so if a teenager...
wait. Another site says that what is the least likely time to get pregnant? During your period.
So your question, how to have sex. So if I am a 14-year-old girl or boy, I get on Google, how to have intercourse. I doubt they'll know the word intercourse, but we'll go with that. The very first thing that pops up is a video that says, #1 sex techniques women beg for.
Jesus.
The #2, how to pleasure a woman. Positions to maximize pleasure during sex. That is what they will see, and they're all videos with women leaned back with their mouth open.
So it's not. So it's almost like it's teaching them the biological way to have sex. It's not teaching them like the inner workings.
No,
It's kind of like porn. Porn doesn't show you all the behind scenes of everything that
so
happened leading up to it.
so if you type that in and you like, if you're a smart teenager and go, okay, this sex technique, no, I want to know how to have sex. You would think a site that is a medical site. So you go down, Cosmo definitely ain't going to give you the right answer. We have Reddit. That's probably not the best place to find out information. Wikipedia, they're going to be completely fucking wrong.
Mm.
So you get to the bottom of the page and you finally see WebMD. Now, most people think WebMD, great, that's a medical thing. They should know, when you type in how to have intercourse, it says 12 tips for better sex. Spice up your sex life. This is what teenagers see when they open up Google. They do not get educated. They find out that, how to stimulate the clitoris. I mean, that one kind of is probably important. They won't be, the guy won't be able to find it anyway, so.
This one's pretty good. This one, it doesn't really go into depth, but this one's on WikiHow. It was the second page. Step 1, wait until you feel ready to have sex. You shouldn't let anyone pressure you into sex. 2, talk about sex with your partner beforehand. Communicate openly so you know what your partner is comfortable with. Clean and groom yourself. You'll seem sexier if you look and smell nice. Choose a clean, private place for your first time. A bedroom is a pretty safe and secluded option. Set the mood with lights and music. Making the room more romantic can take off some of the pressure. Ask for consent. You should only have sex if your partner also wants to. Start with some foreplay. It's going to feel a lot more passionate if you take the time building up for it. Wear a condom. Condoms can help prevent unwanted pregnancies and STIs. Use lubrication. Lube can help make sex less painful. Take it slow. Starting sex too quickly could be painful or make you finish early. Accept that your first time might be a little awkward. It takes a little bit of time to know what you like when you're intimate. Check in with your emotions. You can be a little emotionally confused after your first time. Use a condom safely and effectively with this expert series. And it tells you how to use a condom essentially.
Okay, this is all fine and dandy, and this is probably an awkward conversation from anybody that's listening. This is 3 adults that just took the time to try to find the right answer. Do we think a 14-year-old boy and girl are going to take this much time and weed through this much bullshit?
Not at all.
No. I can tell you how it's going to work for boys.
Oh, no.
Pornhub.
How
Pornhub.
to, yeah. They're going to type in how to put my penis in a vagina. That's what they're going to type in. And then that's going to lead them down a road that's just, oh my God. Women, I don't even think are going to look this up. They're not going to look up how to have sex.
No.
No,
Probably
but something
not.
else that they don't teach girls either is that if you don't know yourself, you can't teach your partner how to.
Ooh, here's a question. When it comes to teaching your kids how to have sex, what if you walk in on them? Not having sex, I'm talking about masturbation.
Okay, thank God.
Never mind, I'll get on that one later then. Because my dad walked in on me. So I
I
was,
feel like boys are so dumb with it. I feel like girls take extra precautions to make sure they don't get caught. I don't know.
I had a girl with me. She didn't
I
take
never
any
got
precautions.
caught.
You haven't had sex.
I've had
That's
my
not.
sex. Never got caught.
What?
That's not. Yeah, that's not how you can still get caught.
Right. She gets caught messing with another girl, but she's never been caught having sex. She can't get caught having sex.
Yeah, but
He doesn't think that what I do is sex. Sonia, you missed that whole conversation weeks ago.
he doesn't even go here. It's fine.
No, it's not
My
sex.
And none for
brother,
Gretchen Wieners.
my brother walked in on me and a chick, and like it's still sex.
A
It's
penis
not.
going
It's just
into a
not
vagina is sex.
right. But there's still oral sex. There's still intimacy. You're still doing things, so you can still get walked in on.
Okay, no, I'm talking about like if you walked in on your teenage daughter or son taking care of business, would you get mad at them or would you scold them? Would you tell
No,
them?
you shut the door and mind your damn business.
I bet you a lot of parents are going to disagree with you on that.
That's totally
Yeah,
fine.
I have to agree. Yeah, if I walked into the bedroom of my children's and witnessed something, I would just
Yeah,
Would
you
you
just close your door and mind your fucking business.
would you talk to them about it, or would this be one of those
Yep.
things that we did not see anything? I did not walk
No.
in on you, and you did not do anything.
I'd talk about it, but I'm that parent.
Yeah, you're one of the rare ones. We're talking about normal parents. I don't
I
even
think
want to
most
say
parents would
normal.
immediately scold their kids.
Yes.
But here's
Shame,
the
shame, shame,
thing.
shame, shame. Nothing greater than Christian hate.
Right,
No
but
greater love than Christian hate.
if you
Not
shame
just
them,
Christians do that.
but if you
Religious,
shame them,
whatever.
you're teaching them to be ashamed of their own body, and that in itself causes problems down the road.
That's when you
Then you
have the
cause,
conversation. You don't even have to have the conversation of talking about the acts that they were doing. You can have the conversation of, hey, there's a better time and place. I know that your room is your room. I get that, right? And your children, regardless of what age, need a little bit of privacy in their room. But that's when you have the conversation of, like, hey, when everybody's home,
Probably not the best time.
probably not the best time, right? Now, if everybody's asleep, probably a little bit better of a time,
but
right? Like
also,
you can kind of, if you know that we're doing if this weekend, like if you know Saturday we're all actively helping clean the house and get things situated or whatever, going to your bedroom during that time to do this is probably not the
Ooh,
best time. Might not be the
okay.
best time.
Okay,
Maybe wait till a little bit later.
for 2 30-year-old girls, give or take some time. I got a question for you. For the guys for the fathers that are raising daughters that think they're the 6-year-old little girls in pigtails, when did you discover that feels good?
I'm a late bloomer.
How
I'm a
old
late
were
bloomer.
you? I'm talking about even rubbing up. That's another conversation that most fathers don't know. I've told dads this before. Had a special stuffed animal.
I
Or
never experienced that.
so there's two things that most fathers don't know, and that babies go through that. Babies go through the I'm gonna rub on it, it's gonna feel good type deal. But I was 13, and
Okay, so I'm not a late bloomer. That's pretty average. Okay,
no,
cool. Yeah, I was about
um,
13.
if
yeah,
any
I want to say I was
fathers
like 12 or 13.
if any fathers comment, they'll say, "Oh my God, that's young." So 13, you think girls are like that shower head?
Yeah, because I feel like you start your period, and like everything about your vagina in those next couple of years is like really gross and icky, and you're just kind of like, I don't like this at all. Like I don't like anything about it. And then I don't know, something changes, and you kind of just you're like messing with the shower head one time, or you sit underneath the bathroom faucet one time, or the shower faucet, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah, okay. So or it's the like if you have the removable shower head, right? Cuz like I always felt like when I was younger and I was on my period, like just the water running down my body and me cleaning
wasn't
everything out
enough.
was not clean enough.
Yeah,
It was not clean enough, right?
yeah,
So you take the shower head and you're like,
yeah,
"Okay.
yeah.
Okay." So it's like you didn't know, you didn't mean for that to happen, but like you feel so gross, so you spend a little bit extra time in the shower and then you're like and then you go exploring from there.
So what I'm hearing is for all the fathers out there, put an actual shower in the shower, not
Don't deprive them of that. Don't
Don't
deprive them of
deprive them
that.
of
That's
that.
No.
so
No.
It
mean.
needs to be the old-fashioned ones that it just came out of the wall. That's
If
it.
that's the
Listen,
case, then little boys need to be showering outside in a freaking bird bath, and that's it.
No, we just you know what? To be honest, I don't know how I discovered it. Like I could not tell you. Just one day I was like I know other things that would be way too personal on YouTube, but like the first time I discovered, oh, that feels good, like I couldn't tell you. Like I have no idea. Like my son's a perfect example. Like my son, I think we've mentioned it on it. He's extremely autistic. He wore diapers up until he was 16. He's still nonverbal. He is not. He's a perpetual 1-year-old kid, and he's 18. And with all that said, he still is a human boy. Still has sexual urges. He's discovered it. He plays with it. He still looks at it. If you were a female and you walked in without a shirt on, he'd stare at you. Now, he may not know why he's staring at you, but like,
yeah, I don't think he fully understands the reason that he has that urge, but he definitely is aware of
yeah,
it. I mean, it even goes so far as to like, in my opinion, like it's a very primal thing because he knows that it's not supposed to be done in front of people. So like he'll go hide in his room and do it.
Yeah, he will.
It's not something he does in front of us.
Yeah, and if you catch him, like walk into his room and catch him, he gets embarrassed. Like he pulls his pants up real quick and he like acts like he didn't do anything. I mean, he's totally busted, but he acts, and so that right there is telling me that all the abstinence teaching, like the people that are just don't have sex unless you're going to die, but all that teaching is absolutely useless, because if you took a completely mentally impaired, disabled, however you want to politically put it, they still figure it out. One way or another, they figure it out. So I guess
I think the importance is that we need to ensure they're figuring it out the right way, the healthy way, right?
The safe way.
Yeah.
The safe way. Learning that consent is a thing. Learning that there's protections out there to help prevent pregnancies, right? Like, no doctors are going in depth. Like, teenage girls get put on birth control all the time, and the safest route is to do the pill. But they're not thinking like, oh, they're getting put on birth control because they're sexually active. They're getting put on birth control to help regulate their period. So they don't go into the whole depth of like, hey, it's best if you take it same time every single day. It's more effective that way, because they're not there for the potential of getting pregnant. They're there for the regulation. But then they start having sex knowing that they're on birth control, and they're like, oh, I'm on birth control. It's okay. Even though I skipped a day or 2 days, or I took it at 9 and then I took it at fucking 1 p.m. the next day. It's not as effective then.
Something else that they don't tell you either is that if you are on antibiotics for anything, it automatically negates you taking birth control.
Yep.
Well, something they don't tell women. But there's a lot of things that go into birth control that, like, they don't tell you. Like, they don't tell you that there's a good chance that your birth control is going to make it so that you don't want to have sex and you're going to gain a shit ton of weight, or that you're going to feel horrible the whole time you're on it, or that, like, for me personally, I did the Depo shot and I bled for 6 straight months and I was miserable the whole time. They don't tell you that these are side effects that are a possibility, and they don't tell you that.
Don't marry a guy when you're on the pill. Because he smells, because
the hormones
fucks up your smell. So
so there's a lot of things that women aren't being taught, and maybe OBGYN should do better with that or whatever, or maybe our sex education should just be better, and we should talk about, hey, birth control, these are the different forms. These are some of the side effects that you'll experience on birth control if you're not taking birth control consistently, if you're taking antibiotics, like just different things, so that women and men are both educated.
I think in general, I think everybody just needs to do better. Like, I think it's on doctors. I think it's on parents. I think it's on the school system. And if you don't want to have that conversation with your child, then you need to bring them somewhere where they can have that conversation safely with a doctor or a counselor or whatever. You need to be able to have that conversation. Even if you don't want to do it, you need to be able to find somebody to have that conversation with your kid.
Okay.
Yeah, because when your kid comes home 13 and pregnant, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault.
All right. So I guess to wrap this all up is parents need to do better, and we need to do better as a society.
Yes.
All right.
Schools could do better.
All right. With that said, just so you guys know, we had an absolutely fantastic conversation on Wednesday that we will get back to. We are not forgetting that. We just want to give ourselves some time and we'll re-engage it. But that one's going to be fun. So I hope everybody enjoyed this podcast. If you would, hit like, hit subscribe. We need it. We'd love to have you again. Thank you. Once again, if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, if you want a conversation with anything, we're more than happy to do it. Just email us at SameTeamDifferentJerseys@gmail.com.
We're on TikTok, Spotify,
Heart Radio.
Yes.
Radio.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think our dog is done with us being on the podcast.
He's chasing the cat.
Okay. He'll make it. All right. And now we have a ton of work to do.
All right, guys.
All
Great
right.
conversation.
Thank you.
Great time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'll talk
Thanks
to you
for
guys
having
later.
me.
Always welcome.
Always welcome. All right. Take it easy, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.